The air over Caracas is thick with humidity and tension. It's 2 a.m. The city's power grid collapses, plunging millions into darkness. A minute later, the silence is shattered. Loud explosions rock the capital, smoke rising from strategic points. Through the smoke, a convoy of black helicopters, flying low and fast, slices through the canyons of skyscrapers. This is not a drill. This is not a training exercise. This is the culmination of months of planning. This is 0 hour. Welcome to Pulsecast USA, the podcast that cuts through the noise to bring you the stories that shape our world. I'm your host, Alina. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most audacious and complex military operations in modern history, an event so stunning it sent shockwaves from Washington to Moscow and every capital in between. We will be dissecting a hypothetical yet meticulously detailed scenario, Operation Absolute Resolve. This is the story of how the United States elite Delta Force allegedly infiltrated the heart of Venezuela to capture its president, Nicolas Maduro, from his fortress-like compound. Before we proceed, a crucial note. The events we are about to describe are based on a detailed fictional account. We will be treating this scenario as a case study, a dramatic analysis to explore the incredible capabilities of U.S. Special Operations and the profound geopolitical consequences such a mission would entail. So, fasten your seatbelts. We're going inside Operation Absolute Resolve. To understand the how, we must first understand the why. For years, the relationship between the United States and Venezuela under Nicolas Maduro has been fraught with tension. Accusations of human rights abuses, election fraud, drug trafficking, and the dismantling of democratic institutions created a deep well of animosity. From Washington's perspective, Maduro was not just a political adversary, he was a destabilizing force in the Western Hemisphere, a leader whose alliances with nations like Russia and China posed a direct strategic threat. The source material for our scenario states that for months, U.S. spies had been monitoring Maduro's every move. This isn't just about tracking his public appearances. This is deep, penetrating intelligence work. Think SIGINT, signals intelligence, intercepting his communications. Human intelligence, cultivating sources within his inner circle. And IMINT, imagery intelligence, satellites and drones mapping his every routine. They would have built a pattern of life dossier on Maduro. When does he wake up? What does he eat? Who are his most trusted guards? Which route does his motorcade take, and how often does it deviate? Most critically, where does he sleep? The answer? The Caracas Fortress, a heavily guarded, multi-layered compound that was considered impenetrable. The decision to launch a capture, not a kill, mission would have been a monumental one. A capture allows for a public trial, a chance to expose alleged crimes to the world. But it's infinitely riskier. It requires getting in, subduing the target and his guards, and getting out alive. The green light for such an operation would have come from the very top. In our scenario, that was U.S. President Donald Trump, who, after being presented with the intelligence and the plan, gave his approval, setting the stage for what would become Operation Absolute Resolve. A mission of this magnitude isn't sketched on a napkin. It's a symphony of meticulous planning involving the nation's most elite military and intelligence minds. The architects of Operation Absolute Resolve faced a daunting challenge: how to insert a force into the center of a hostile capital, extract the most heavily guarded man in the country, and exfiltrate him, all while maintaining the element of surprise. The planning was so detailed, so obsessive, that elite U.S. troops did something extraordinary. They built an exact, full-size replica of Maduro's Caracas fortress. Imagine a secret base somewhere in the American Southwest, a mock-up of a foreign capital's most secure location. Here, Delta Force operators, the U.S. military's top special mission unit, practiced relentlessly. They ran drills for every conceivable contingency. What if the main door is reinforced? They carried a blowtorch. What if there's a firefight in the hallway? They ran those scenarios hundreds of times. They memorized every corner, every window, every potential choke point. This wasn't just practice, it was muscle memory creation. The integration required was staggering. The mission wasn't just Delta Force, it was a joint force effort on an unprecedented scale. The Air Force would handle air superiority and transport, the Navy would provide support from the sea, the CIA would provide the on-the-ground intelligence, and all of it had to be synchronized down to the second. Our scenario highlights a false start 4 days before the actual mission. President Trump had given the approval, the teams were ready, but the planners opted to wait. Why? Weather. Less cloud cover. This seemingly small detail is critical in special operations. Cloud cover can hinder helicopter pilots, reduce the effectiveness of reconnaissance drones, and complicate aerial support. The decision to wait shows immense discipline. They weren't just ready, they were waiting for the perfect moment, the optimal conditions to maximize success and minimize risk. The final order from the president to begin the mission finally came on a Friday, setting the stage for a 2-hour and 20-minute operation by air, land, and sea that would stun the world. More than 150 aircraft are launched across the Western Hemisphere: bombers, fighter jets, reconnaissance planes, and transport helicopters, all moving in a complex, coordinated ballet. Their goal, to layer effects for a single purpose: to get an interdiction force into downtown Caracas while maintaining tactical surprise. At 2 a.m. local time, the first move is made. U.S. assets, likely via cyber warfare or targeted strikes on substations, cut the power to Caracas. The city goes dark. In the ensuing chaos and confusion, the assault begins. At about 2:01 a.m., loud explosions are heard across the city. These are likely diversionary strikes, designed to draw attention and forces away from the real target. Simultaneously, video emerges of a convoy of helicopters flying at low altitude over the capital, black silhouettes against the orange glow of fires on the ground. These are the insertion helicopters, carrying the operators of Delta Force. They are heavily armed, carrying everything from carbines and breaching shotguns to, as we know, a blowtorch for cutting through metal doors. As the strikes ring out around Caracas, these teams make their way into the city. They arrive at Maduro's location shortly after the strikes begin. The intelligence was precise. The entry was swift, but it was not without resistance. The troops took fire as they arrived. One of the U.S. helicopters was reportedly hit, but was still able to fly, a testament to the durability of the aircraft and the skill of the pilots. Inside Maduro's compound, chaos erupts. As elite U.S. troops flood in, the scenario states that the Venezuelan president attempted to flee to a pre-planned safe room, but the Delta Force operators were too fast, too overwhelming. As President Trump himself would later describe in this fictional account, "They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out in the sea. They knew we were coming, so they were in a ready position, but they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated." The target is secured. Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, are in U.S. custody. The most difficult part is now over, but the mission is far from complete. They still have to get out. While the assault team was securing the targets, the extraction plan was already in motion. The captured Maduro and his wife were swiftly moved from the compound and placed aboard a waiting helicopter, then transferred to a pre-positioned naval vessel in the region, the USS Iwo Jima. The ship didn't head straight for the U.S. It made a critical stop at the U.S. military base in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, Gitmo. The name itself is loaded with symbolism and controversy. Transferring Maduro here is a powerful statement. It places him in a legal gray area, under the full control of the U.S. military, far from any Venezuelan influence. It's a location designed for high-value detainees. After a brief processing period at Guantanamo, Maduro and his wife were transferred again, this time to a plane. This plane landed at Stewart Air National Base in New York on Saturday evening. The choice of New York is significant. It places him close to the federal court system in the Southern District of New York, a venue that has historically handled high-profile international terrorism and organized crime cases. The message is clear: he will face the U.S. justice system. Meanwhile, how was the mission being monitored? Not from the White House Situation Room. In this scenario, President Trump was at his Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach, Florida, surrounded by his key advisors, CIA Director John Ratcliffe and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, watching a live stream of the operation. This modern reality of warfare, where a president can watch a raid unfold in real time from thousands of miles away, is a testament to the technology underpinning these missions.
So, what does a hypothetical mission like Operation Absolute Resolve tell us? First, it's a staggering display of American military might and competence. The sheer complexity, over 150 aircraft, multi-domain integration, precision strikes, is, as the fictional Trump stated, something no nation in the world could achieve. It showcases the unparalleled ability of the U.S. joint force to project power anywhere on the globe. Second, it highlights the critical role of intelligence. None of this is possible without months, maybe years, of painstaking intelligence gathering. The replica compound, the knowledge of Maduro's routine, the ability to bypass defenses, it all starts with knowing your enemy better than they know themselves. Third, we must consider the geopolitical fallout. A raid like this is an act of war. It would be condemned by nations across the world, particularly Russia and China, who have vested interests in Venezuela. The United Nations would be in an uproar. It could trigger retaliatory actions, cyber attacks, or even military posturing. Within Venezuela, it could lead to a power vacuum, civil unrest, or a crackdown by Maduro's loyalists. The operation would be compared to other legendary raids, the capture of Osama bin Laden, Neptune's Spear, the killing of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. But this is different. Capturing a sitting head of state from his own capital is a line that, in the real world, has rarely, if ever, been crossed by the United States. It sets a dangerous new precedent. Operation Absolute Resolve, as we've explored it today, is a dramatic and chilling scenario. It's a story of elite warriors, meticulous planning, and breathtaking audacity. It's a demonstration of what is possible when a nation commits its full resources to a single, focused objective. Whether this mission remains fiction or one day becomes a reality, it serves as a powerful lens through which we can view the capabilities, the risks, and the profound moral questions of modern warfare. It forces us to ask, where are the lines, and what are the consequences when they are crossed? The story of Maduro's hypothetical capture is more than just a military tale. It's a geopolitical thriller that reminds us that in the 21st century, the walls of a fortress are no match for the resolve of a superpower. That's all for this special edition of Pulsecast USA. I'm Alina. Thank you for listening. If you found this deep dive fascinating, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analysis, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next episode. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on the risks and rewards of an operation like this. We'll see you next time.